The colony of New Terra wasn't much to look at. A collection of prefabricated domes scattered across a frozen plain on the edge of human-explored space. Alexander Chun had been stationed there for 8 months as a maintenance engineer, and the isolation had become almost comfortable. Almost. The blizzard hit without warning that evening, turning the purple sky into a swirling mass of white. Alexander was making his way back to his quarters when he saw her. A figure collapsed in the snow near the eastern perimeter fence. His thermal scanner barely registered her presence, but the faint heat signature was unmistakable. Someone was dying out there. He ran toward the figure, his boots crunching through the knee-deep snow. As he got closer, he realized this wasn't one of the colonists. The being was small, humanoid, but distinctly alien. Her skin had a faint iridescent quality even in the dim light, and her hair, if it could be called that, seemed to shimmer with bioluminescence that was rapidly fading. "Hey, can you hear me?" Alexander shouted over the wind. The alien girl's eyes fluttered open, large, golden eyes that held both fear and resignation. She tried to speak, but her lips were tinged blue, and her whole body shook violently. Without thinking, Alexander stripped off his thermal jacket and wrapped it around her small frame. The cold bit into him immediately, but he ignored it. He scooped her up. She weighed almost nothing, and carried her toward the nearest dome. Inside the medical bay, Alexander worked quickly. The AI assistant protested that it had no data on her species' physiology, but he did what he could: warming blankets, hydration, shelter. The girl, she couldn't have been more than 18 in human years, remained unconscious, but her breathing steadied. He stayed with her through the night, monitoring her vitals as best he could. Around 3 a.m., her eyes opened again. This time, there was clarity in them. "You saved me," she whispered in perfect English, though her voice had a melodic quality that seemed impossible for human vocal cords. "You speak our language?" Alexander asked, surprised. "My people study many species. I am Kirsten, of the Luminari." She pulled his jacket tighter around herself. "I was running. My scout ship crashed in the storm." Running from what? Before she could answer, exhaustion claimed her again, and she slept. Alexander found himself watching over her, this strange alien girl who had literally fallen from the sky. There was something vulnerable about her, despite her otherworldly appearance. He didn't know why he felt so protective, but he did. Morning came, and with it, the ships. Alexander was awakened by alarms blaring throughout the colony. He rushed to the observation deck and felt his blood run cold. 7 massive vessels hovered above New Terra, their design elegant and utterly foreign. They dwarfed even the largest human cruisers. The colony administrator's voice crackled over the intercom. "All personnel to defensive positions. We have an unidentified alien fleet in orbit. They're hailing us." Alexander's mind raced. He looked back at the medical bay where Kirsten still slept. This couldn't be a coincidence that he ran to the communications center. "Let me talk to them," he demanded. "Are you insane, Chun?" The administrator, Commander Reeves, snapped. "The alien girl. I found her last night. This has to be about her." Reeves studied him for a long moment, then nodded grimly. "Fine. But if this goes sideways, it's on you." The main screen flickered to life, revealing a stern-faced alien woman whose features marked her as the same species as Kirsten. Behind her stood at least a dozen others, all female, all wearing what appeared to be military uniforms. "I am Matriarch Solara of the Luminari Concordat," the woman announced, her voice carrying immense authority. "We detected our princess's distress beacon on this world. Return her to us immediately, or face annihilation." "Princess?" Alexander's stomach dropped. "Wait," he said quickly. "She's safe. She's here, sleeping in our medical facility. I found her during the blizzard last night and brought her inside." The matriarch's expression shifted slightly. "You helped her?" "Of course. She was freezing to death." A murmur rippled through the alien women on screen. Solara leaned forward. "Human, what is your name?" "Alexander Chun, ma'am." "And you gave aid to the princess, expecting what in return?" Alexander blinked, confused. "Nothing. She needed help." The murmuring grew louder. One of the women behind Solara spoke urgently in their own language. The matriarch raised a hand for silence, her golden eyes fixed on Alexander with an intensity that made him uncomfortable. "Among our people," Solara said slowly, The act of giving one's protection, one's warmth, to a member of the royal family creates a debt that cannot be repaid with mere gratitude. She paused. You gave her your jacket, your shelter, and asked nothing. This is unprecedented. Before Alexander could respond, Kirsten appeared at the door of the communications center, still wrapped in his jacket. She looked at the screen and her eyes widened. Mother, she said softly. Kirsten. Solara's stern expression cracked, revealing relief and love. My daughter, are you well? Yes. Because of him. Kirsten walked over to stand beside Alexander. She took his hand, and he felt a strange tingle of energy pass between them. He saved my life when he had no reason to, when I was nothing but a stranger in the cold. Solara's expression transformed completely. She stood, and every woman behind her did the same, placing their right hands over their hearts in what was clearly a gesture of deep respect. Alexander Chun of humanity, the matriarch declared, you have shown honor that transcends species. The Luminari do not forget such deeds. We arrive not as a threat, but to honor you and to propose an alliance between our peoples. Alexander stood speechless as Kirsten squeezed his hand gently. Among my people, she whispered to him, when someone saves a princess's life, they are offered a choice: wealth, knowledge, or… She hesitated, a faint luminescence coloring her cheeks, something more personal. He looked down at her, at this impossible alien girl who had crashed into his lonely existence on a frozen world. Then he looked at the screen, at the fleet of ships and the proud warriors who now regarded him with respect. I think, Alexander said slowly, a smile tugging at his lips, we should probably start with that alliance. Humanity could use some friends out here. Kirsten laughed, a sound like chimes in the wind. Very diplomatic, Alexander Chun. But we'll discuss the rest later. As the colony erupted in celebration around them, humanity's first contact with a friendly alien species, initiated by one simple act of kindness, Alexander realized his quiet life on New Terra was over, and somehow, he didn't mind at all.